All right, we're good, Mr. Chair.
All right, it's Wednesday. You want to shut that one off just for a minute? All right, so it's Wednesday, June 24th, 2026 at 6 p.m. and we have quorum of the planning board. I'm Patrick Driscoll, the chair. With me in person is Mr. Chris John Fabrowski and our town planner, Mr. Shane O'Brien. Online, we have Mr. Dan Greenberg and Mr. Michael McDonald, the vice chair. We also have, there's no staff online, Shane, correct?
Nope, just me.
Okay, so I'll go to, that was item 1, call to order. Item 2, I'll open the joint public hearing with the CED committee of the council. This is a zoning amendment, ordinance D FY 26-014, amendment to the CBD regulations. We continued this from our June 17th meeting. So I'll turn it over to Council Hunt to open.
Thank you. And I'm going to say that we're going to ask Dr. Kevin Perry. Oh, to open the public. Yes, I'm opening the public hearing for the three of us. So we have Dr. Kevin Perry, Mary, just lost your last name. Mary McGrath.
Marilyn, come on.
Marilyn Kenninghant, the chair of the CEDC. And I think we're going to have Kevin covering most of our items because he's done quite a lot of this before.
No problem, but we'll let the chair of the planning board.
No, we could definitely ask questions.
Okay.
Almost everything.
All right, so the public hearing's still open. At the last meeting, we walked through the document. We talked about a number of changes. I did make all those changes. There are still a few formatting things and a couple of small errors. For those that are here, I printed off the 2 pages that had errors on it after I went through the whole document again. So, Mr. O'Brien, can you share the screen with what you sent out to the board, the red line version?
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that right now. This is the right one, Mr. Chair?
Yep. All right. So these first 2 pages, I think we can delete from our referral back to the council. These first 2 pages basically just reference the entire CBD zoning change packet that was the initial ordinance. It really has nothing to do with these changes. So page 1 and page 2, I think we could just get rid of when we send our letter back for the referral. Okay. Next, go to page 3, Shane, please.
Sure thing.
So page 3, everything remained the same from last week. We clean up minimum depth, front, side, rear. We changed the maximum height to 3.5 feet in both districts. And then we add a star next to the rear, the front yard setback line, excuse me. And it says, we added the language, projects in the CBDS and CBDR fronting on Main Street shall maintain a minimum front yard setback of the existing structure or 20 feet. Dr. Perry had raised concerns about Main Street. I think a lot of us agreed with him. I agreed with him anyway on that. And that's why that change was made. There is a space, an extra space between shall and maintain that before I have Shane send that back as a recommendation, I'll make sure that's cleaned up. Page 4, nothing's changed here. We asked for a deed restriction on the property to be utilized for off-site parking. What's that?
That's on page.
Well, there's no change since last week, I should say. That was not, so, right. So what we talked about last week, there's been no changes to that in this document from last week.
Are we asking questions now or afterwards, Pat?
You can,
We can ask,
Yeah.
because I thought you were gonna put, the deed restriction, is there a time period, how long it lasts?
well, typically it's for the life of the project or in perpetuity, so I
Okay.
don't think that would be part of the approval process. I would just make,
Okay,
a deed restriction runs with the land typically, so.
so the approval process is with the planning board?
Yeah, typically what we'll say is when we do an easement, is that one? Yeah.
You'll decide then.
Yeah, Can you guys hear me online now or no?
Hear you loud
Yeah,
and
I
clear.
hear you, bet. Yep.
You guys can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so typically when we ask for an easement, and this would be a parking easement or a deed restriction, if they present an easement as part of their approval process, Mr. O'Brien will put in the decision letter, or whoever's the planner at the time will put in the decision letter that they have to provide easement language and recording prior to the endorsement
Okay.
plan. So before we endorse the plan or before we sign off on occupancy, we say that a deed restriction has to be recorded based on that.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned the previous plan too, this being a relatively restricted idea based in the CBDR and CBDS district, there would be an opportunity for these projects to have a limited list and to follow up with these applicants to make sure that they're properly following up with the deed restriction, as well as it's recorded with the deed and the decision of the planning board.
All right, thank you.
So page 5, Mr. O'Brien. So on page 5, again, there's no change here. We just corrected that language. It said both of the requirements. We just changed it to be grammatically correct. Page 6, there are no proposed changes. So page 7, I did provide you a corrected page 7 from what Mr. O'Brien sent out in the packet. Number 4 at the top of page 7, that should not be crossed out. That should not be deleted. I had trouble with this document from the original formatting. Sometimes you delete, it was very difficult to manage, and I don't use redline enough. So just reviewing it, that number 4 should stay the same. So I did include a page that shows that item 4 should remain exactly how it is in the zoning now, and that should not be deleted. So I'll work with Mr. O'Brien the next couple of days to make sure that's out before we send back the referral. Item 6, we did change this from our last meeting. So this is a new change. We said for all new construction, ground floors must be designed to accommodate active commercial uses by maintaining a floor to ceiling height of at least 15 feet. We get rid of the 20 feet. And again, we went to a percentage. So we said commercial, retail, restaurant uses must occupy at least 80% of the gross floor area of the ground floor. So they have to maintain that ceiling height throughout the first floor, not just the first 20 feet. And it has to be active commercial uses on 80% of it. So I looked up and I made sure that word active was in there. I did look up Medford zoning, and I guess active is the terminology that should be used. So the other 20% could be accessory elevator for upstairs, could be
Okay.
a vestibule, laundry room, whatever it may be.
I was wondering about that.
Section, page 8 in this document, again, there are no changes.
Was in 7, but that's already done.
Say that again?
In 7, they have,
We did 7 already.
so it's all
We just
done.
did page
Okay.
Page 8, there are no changes. Page 9, this remained the same from our last meeting. We just make it clear that in item 10, that no residential units are allowed on the ground floor of a mixed-use development within the CBDS. There was some conflicting language above. We just got rid of it, made that clear. Page 12, nothing changed, and B is where B should be. I probably spent an hour on this trying to figure out how to get it to correct. So if you accept the changes, it'll be fine. It's just, there is a formatting issue there where I can't pull, that E below it is crossed out, that shouldn't exist. So it's a formatting issue.
It's understood.
I do have one thing on that, to make an amendment. I know I said this before, but I think it should be the CED director and staff, because the director's not the same as the staff. We have the director of finance, we have the director of senior elders. So I know there
All right,
may
so-
be reasons,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
think director should be in there.
All right, so you want to put aft in B, So we want to add DCED, director and staff?
Yes, thank you.
And then Mary, do you want to change it below? It says once the DCED staff, so we should say director and staff there as well?
On both,
The second to last sentence?
on the same page, on that page?
Yep.
So,
Mm.
okay, so here as well, you're talking about here and here?
Yeah, that, yeah.
Okay. Does anybody object to those changes or?
Unless it's worded that way elsewhere, and is it worded like that anywhere else?
Yeah, it is. On the
We
next
need-
page.
So do we need to change it everywhere?
Well, let's,
Well, it's taken out.
all right, so we're on
the
this,
next
we're on this
page.
page right now, this site. So we good with this? Are we good there for right now? Good with that?
Yeah.
All right. So moving on. This was a question, I just put a question mark here. So item C, the approval process comes back to the planning board, so we say within 30 days or other agreed upon extension of time by the parties of the opening of the public hearing, the planning board shall render its decision and file its decision with the town clerk. Any discussion on that one? Because that's the one that was kind of.
That's the one on 30 days, so we do it 30 days?
Again, I'm fine with the 30 days. I know you brought it up at the last meeting. You were considering maybe going to 45, but I just, didn't know if you had any more feedback or discussion on that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one with the main issue with it last meeting, I believe. And I still have that issue, but it's not something, that I would hold up this process for. I just think it could put us in some odd or potentially bad circumstances with such a short time frame that could only encompass a single meeting.
Mr. O'Brien?
I guess maybe a question I have, and just looking for it, I guess from a developer standpoint, do you think they would be looking at it in calendar days or business days? I'm assuming from this perspective, it would be calendar days, but you could incorporate 30 business days and, incorporate it based on the current week schedule too. So it'd be 30 days, but a longer 30 days.
6 weeks as opposed to 4, which would essentially give you the 45 days.
I guess my only concern is, and from a planning board perspective, more time's better, right? But from a developer's perspective, they're gonna spend weeks with staff doing that checklist. That checklist is more
Well,
more detailed than a typical.
I'll be honest too. I would say based on these changes too, it would be also looking at this pre-application process, because I think there's an expectation from this process that they be doing the checklist with the board as well.
The
correct.
checklist will be done with staff.
Okay, so the checklist would be done.
So we
Gotcha.
really could keep it at 30 days, and if we find it becoming a problem, we can adjust this again. Can't we?
That's what the language is there, is
Can't we?
describing.
You can continue it as well.
But the language says you can extend it.
Right, so 30 days is just a milestone to try and hit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with proceeding with the current language. I just think it could potentially be an issue sometime in the future, but I might just be wrong.
Because it does say 30 days or other
Agreed
extension of
upon, yeah.
time.
Right.
So,
I think you can extend it whenever you need it based on that language.
Move on, or make it,
Yep,
somebody wanna make a
good.
change?
I think we'll leave it at 30. for
Council
now.
Ellenberg? Sure.
We got to come to the forum. We're doing public comment then.
Well, this is
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to know, on the checklist that staff will be doing, is the water impact study an item on the checklist?
And in this round, it's not, we're not touching the checklist at all in this. When the ordinance came to us, the checklist wasn't addressed at all.
So can you address it?
We're reviewing what's been sent. I believe there's separate language being done to address that situation.
So you're going to pass something without the language being put in?
This
Language
is-
is elsewhere.
Yeah.
Well, it's not else, no.
Is
I
theirs
mean,
in
if,
another
and
place?
so when we look at site plans, so this will go back to site plan review,
Mm-hmm.
where it didn't go to site plan review first. In our site plan review criteria, we have to determine adequacy of utilities. So if there's not adequate water or adequate sewer, we have to do what we've been doing, either condition it on private wells, or they approve it on the town water side. But if the water department gets a plan from us, which they do every time, when they ask for a water impact form, we'll certainly make sure the applicant does it.
If they ask for it, I think it would be good, that's my personal opinion, that we should make it mandatory that that is one of the requirements.
Council Ellenberg, right now we have an ordinance and rules and procedures where we're adding that. The water impact will come to each town council and the town manager of certain projects. We have to look at, we're not going to do it for every house. So we're going to be doing it just for buildings or a certain amount of water.
You said it goes to the council.
The water impact will be coming to the council and the town manager, so we'll always know of the water impacts. We're discussing that right now in rules and procedures.
And that is us acting as the water board versus having the planning board do it.
And no, it's just so we're aware of it, so we haven't been aware of stuff, so we're just discussing it, looking at it, so then we'll all be aware of it, town manager and town councils, before it's been approved.
Okay, well, that sounds to me like an avoidance, but that's my opinion. And I would love to have the planning board be responsible enough to put the water impact study on its list of requirements.
And
Yes, it should be required.
I'm sorry? I don't know who spoke.
I think, you know, we can ask for that, we can ask for it, but I think with this, and I think what we talked about last time was that this is a very small area, this is just downtown.
Mhm.
And I think last time we talked, when you asked the question, I think we thought it'd be better off to do a town-wide policy instead of just downtown. So maybe the ordinance that you guys are
Is
working
addressing more
on addresses
town-wide.
more town-wide than one specific area.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are projects all over town that should probably do a water impact study, not
Yep.
just this district that we're talking about.
Okay. So you're not going to put it in for this district, but you might put it in for townwide.
Well, the planning board doesn't put anything, and I think the council
And
does.
the ordinance is in rules and procedures right now that we have to amend. We're amending it. We're looking at it.
Yes, an ordinance that applies to the planning board?
No, it applies to.
It's a town code.
Yeah, it's a town code. It's a mixture of stuff that started, so we're maybe amending it. It's, what is that one again?
I don't know, well, this is, again, this is just looking
Yeah.
at the form-based code for the CBDS and CBDR. That checklist on the back is a checklist that applies across the board, just not for this particular section.
That checklist in the back is just for this section.
It is just for the section, my apologies. So in that regard, again, it's just specific to this area. What we're looking at as far as what the counselor is speaking to is definitely something that's across the board for all areas of town. So it's more encompassing than just attaching to this smaller section.
Yes, thank you. In my view, again, it's just my view, we especially need water impact studies for the density of development that will be happening in the CBD and the CBR.
So I believe, Mr. O'Brien, the two projects we had in the CBDR that we approved,
One CBDR, one CBDS.
so the one that
Actually, two CBDS. I apologize. That was Rear Central.
the one that the planning board approved, or had control to approve on Main Street, we made it very clear in the decision letter that they had to work with the water and sewer department to get their connections. We were not approving those connections.
And that will not be your purview in the general future. Is that correct?
Well, we don't, no, I mean, we
You don't
never
approve
approved water.
connections?
No.
Okay.
We asked the Water and Sewer Department for a recommendation, and they work with DPW. They work with DPW, and they go through engineering, or they're supposed to go through engineering, and we're supposed to get a favorable recommendation before we can approve the project. If we don't, then we have to condition it that this project can't go forward until they get a favorable recommendation, or they have to do private wells.
Mr. Driscoll, can you speak up, please?
Yep. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
That's better.
It's up to the council. If you guys want to add it to the checklist, we can add it.
Yep, I mean, at this point, we've got what we got in front of us, so, you know, the edits that have been made. Yeah, again, I'm not even sure where that would go in the checklist per se, but again, I'd like to go back and see what we have on deck as well as far as the other ordinance goes and how that applies.
I thought
Boy,
there was,
start taking
I thought there was,
piecemeal
I
other
thought there was a
situations.
town-wide ordinance coming.
There's a town-wide ordinance. I remember what it is because it's been a while. We've changed committees, so I'm no longer on the rules and procedures. It took me for a few minutes. So it's to clarify the set rule of how things go through with the water and how things are gone through the committees. So I didn't write it. I think it was Johnny and Shane. But when we discussed it in rules and procedures, we decided, okay, this is how you run the machine, but who's operating it, kind of. So we wanted to make sure that people where the water impact was being done and people were being notified. And because it seems like the water has been slipping through the cracks, we were asking to amend it that water impact comes to every town council and to town manager. So no matter who changes seats, they'll still get the water impact. So we know we're not going over the limit. We can talk to the town manager. We're going to have water discussions on our rules and our town councils every week. So this way we can keep track of the water going forward. So it's going to be on that. It's in rules and procedures. You should go to, I don't know when they meet next, but I know it's in there because it was in there when I left, when I got switched.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Well, you know what? I didn't think it would take, do you mind if we just go through all the corrections? Yeah, we'll
That's fine.
open up the public comment.
There's still a
but-
public hearing right now.
All right, so we ended up with the 30 days. We're good?
Yeah.
All right, so then.
Actually,
with the-
sorry, Mr. Chair, can I just ask Shane one question on that, and then it'll be the last to hear about it from me. I
Sure
promise.
thing.
Shane, procedurally, if say we missed 2 meetings, it was a meeting where we only had one scheduled a month, and then the next we weren't able to have quorum for some reason, people got sick, something like that. What would happen when that 30-day timer expired?
I would say that you would probably want to have a discussion, whether it be CED staff or the chair, to have a discussion of like a potential. I don't see any developer coming in trying to kind of utilize that time clock. I think there's other things as part of that time clock that doesn't force necessarily a decision being made. I think it's just
Okay, I think there's a lot of I think it's pretty simple. So it says within 30 days of the opening of the public hearing. So 30 days from, if we had a meeting tonight, Michael, right? We could definitely have another meeting within 30 days. So
That's a good point, Pat. I actually completely missed that line. I wasn't thinking about that.
30 days of the opening of the public hearing. It's not when Shane gets it and we schedule it and we're rushing. It's
Right.
30 days from the time that we schedule the public hearing to render our decision. So we could have 2 or 3 meetings in that time period if we needed to. So
Yeah, it's an excellent point. I didn't think of it like that.
good on that one?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you very much.
All right, so D is just basically complying legally. I believe, Mr. O'Brien, the building commissioner is the only one that he's our zoning enforcement officer, so he's the one that determines variances, is that correct?
that is correct.
So that's just to comply with the way it should be. You know, the first project, we had Mr. Solari do it anyway. Next changes, so 9.8.4.3, that it says all plans and drawings submitted to the staff and to the planning board shall be prepared. I mean, staff includes the director at that point, but do you want to change that too? I mean,
Yeah.
the staff incorporates the director. The director is town staff, so.
Yeah. Shane, is a staff member required to come to the planning board meeting? Are you required to be at all the planning board committees?
I typically would probably have staff present because I set up the cameras and
Okay,
the microphone and the Zoom. So typically you'd need at least a staff person to be at least licensed in the Zoom features because the way that we operate is that after the meeting, we have it go to our Zoom accounts from the town for town emails, and then we'll send it to IT that go to the YouTube page. So
Okay.
that's the only way I believe that it could function in the future. I don't know if you find a different way, but that's what I assume is the only way to make it function with kind of the way that we've been doing it via Zoom.
okay. I was just wondering, because, I mean, you'll get back to all your staff and tell them what's going on, so.
Yeah, we have to take minutes for these meetings and recordings. You know, we typically have to be in attendance of these meetings.
All right, thank you.
All right, so 9.8.5.1 waivers. The planning board is the one that always handles waivers. ZBA handles variances. Any questions on those? 14, nothing. 15, nothing. 16, nothing. 17, no changes. 18. This is the mixed-use frontage. Again, this was just, we called it mixed-use frontage, but in this section, it was incorrectly called the village center frontage, so that just is a correction. Page 18. 19, no changes. 20, in the item 2 on the citing, there's no changes. Item 3, we talked about going from a depth to a percentage, so we get rid of the 25 feet. We went active ground floor commercial, 70%. Down below in massing and height, that 4-story should be crossed out. It is in blue and it is crossed out, but it just doesn't print off that way. So I'll make sure we put a line through that. So that should be 3.5 stories, not 3.54 stories. 6,000 square feet is the building footprint max. And then we delete the large buildings out back, which could be up to 16,000 square feet. On page 21, again, that 1 shouldn't be crossed out. That it's just I don't know what it's doing. And then we change the second paragraph to say the purpose of this frontage is to develop neighborhood scale mixed-use buildings that are close to the sidewalk and support pedestrian activity. This frontage requires commercial activation along the frontage, and we get rid of the rest of it. This citing again there's a small error there. That citing should be number 2. Formatting issue. Formatting issue in the next 2. So that 3 that's crossed out should still be there. That 4 that's crossed out should still be there. I'll correct those with Mr. O'Brien. But again, we cross off the depth 30 feet. We go to 70 feet. 70%, excuse me. Building width, we go from 200 to 100. Again, it's just a formatting issue. That 4 should be crossed off. It is crossed off in the red line version, but the way it prints, so I'll make sure we draw a line through that chain. The 6,000 square feet remains the building footprint. And again, we delete the issue, the larger buildings out back. Again, the formatting issue, I just can't figure out how to fix it. That should go back to 5 and not be 4. And we delete E in its entirety. All right, going on. So page 26 is the next page. And that's also, I gave you a correction page for that one, if you grab that correction page. Because the one thing missing there was, it should be 3.5 stories, not 4. Again, we add the ground floor commercial, ground floor commercial 70%. See that formatting table? That's, whoever formatted this originally, I can't figure it out. This is what was sent to me from the town, and there's a formatting issue with some of the stuff, so that does say 70% under that formatting table. So if you accept the changes, it comes out right. But that 4, again, is crossed off. You can see the little dash next to it. It's just, it doesn't go through it. And we delete the larger buildings out back.
Yes.
So I'm going fast. Does anybody have questions? And I think the last change we make is these projects on page,
45?
what page?
45 is the one I have.
It goes,
Something.
yeah, last page, but 45.
Page 45. So we exempted CBDR from site plan review. So we're just removing that exemption. So these projects would come back to the planning board now, where they didn't before. So I can add, there are still and I apologize, there's still a few formatting and spacing issues, which maybe Mr. O'Brien can help me with. You're pretty good with the word.
I'm all right.
And then the 2 pages that I gave you guys today, just to correct those Scribner's errors, can be inserted. And then we could add Counselor. Where did that go? Counselor McGrath's edits on page 12, which would be the development review process, adding director and staff 2 places. We'll leave the 30 days alone. And the other thing we can do, and it's up to you guys, is when we send the referral back, this red line referral back, we're not touching the maps or the checklist. So, Dr. Perry, you think you want to leave them in? Just send the whole thing back?
Yeah, just sending the whole thing back, just as a reference point, because again, as you're looking at the different, zones that those charts are referring to, I think it's good to have the map to go along with that the council can look at and refer to.
Yeah, the only thing I could see, Pat, is maybe you had that page 45 that had talked about the site plan, but in between, I think we went like 20 pages without any changes. I don't know what your opinion on that is, but it seems to be negligible. And, I think it'd be easier for the council to kind of comprehend and read when we lose those 20 pages.
So I guess that's a good question. What Mr. O'Brien's saying is we can't just send the changes back, the pages back with changes, but we could send each section back. So we could, for example, we could send back page 1, page 2.
Sending each page.
But you'd have to send, well, we'd have to send the whole section, right?
Right, because what you were advertised was based on those sections and changes to those sections.
So we could just send back those sections.
That's fine, because again, if there's no changes in the other section.
And then you wouldn't send back the map and the form,
I see what you're saying. Well, either way, I get it.
Because there's no changes to those.
Right. No, like I say, the only thing I'm saying is because there's changes to those graphs that refer to those particular areas on the map, at least the first map that it deals with the mixed frontage and transitional and flex frontage and stuff.
I
That
agree.
map kind of clarifies what those areas refer
I
to.
agree with Mr. O'Brien, though. That might confuse people. They might see a map and think there is a change, like,
Oh,
you know,
I see what you're saying.
right?
Yeah, the simpler the better. You want to kind of focus your attention on those that are being redlined and changes. It was nice to look at everything in the whole, but I would say in terms of simplicity, you want just the changes, because when this is provided to like the town clerk's office or whomever to make the changes, they're going to be looking at everything and anything, and just to make sure that everything's correct and matches.
So we're in a public comment, but assuming we adopt these changes and we say no to the original referral, but say we'd accept these changes, right? Is that something you could help me summarize and get to them so they can refer it back to themselves?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we can send the referral back summarized.
I think from a at least minimally planning board perspective, I can provide the recommendation. I'm not sure where typically your guys's from a CED committee's recommendations come from, but we can kind of merge our comments to be kind of parallel to one another. But yeah,
What we can do is we can share with
Sure.
Council Hunt, which chairs the committee, the recommendation we send back.
right. I just can't write their recommendation.
Same recommendation.
I was going to
as
say,
a
if we're sitting here
subcommittee.
tonight voting on the same
Right,
one.
exactly.
We are.
As far, I think you're just questioning how to present it back to the council.
So why don't we have public comment?
Yeah.
Why don't we close the public hearing if we're ready to?
Yeah, do the public comment, then close.
And then if these are the changes we want, then maybe Mr. O'Brien can summarize them.
Yep.
And I'll help you, Shane, because we can probably do it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
We're all understanding what the changes
Yeah.
are, so we can vote on the changes.
And then
as
they
written.
can be circulated, obviously, you'll see them before your meeting, and then if there's an issue, we can correct it.
Totally fine. But I would, yeah, get some public comment to close on.
Sure. You want me to say that?
Sure.
We're going to take public comment now.
We'll do in person, I guess, sorry, taking over. In person first and then virtual.
Hello, Janet Hanson, Pleasant Street. First off, you're talking about, only sending the changes, but the only thing that I could find was the CED, your committee did have changes, but there was only 9 pages, and it's not everything that was in front of me tonight. So, and planning board, you didn't have anything attached, and I'm not hunting through that website to try to find the original document. I would have found it very helpful. I feel that it should have been attached to your agenda so that we can see the whole thing. Some people like myself might have wanted to print it out so I could review it better. I can see your changes and it would help, but tonight there was more up here tonight than what I even had on their agenda. So that one comment, it really needs to be attached, and going forward, things need.
And I think, so what council already did, which Dr. Perry took over, we're changing that because I think I said in the initial meeting, council already tried to do a good job summarizing that, but some of the things that he summarized were already done, and some things were in here. So you're right, some things were missed, some things shouldn't have been in there. So what we're doing is we're going to potentially vote yes or no on what he presented. And if we vote no, we'll say, what council already didn't do, what council already did, we don't agree with, but we would like to see these changes, and that would go back to the council.
Okay.
So, Mr. O'Brien, as soon as we get those changes summarized, can you get those up online?
Yeah, it's no problem at all.
Okay, well, going back, it should have been attached to the agenda. So I could have seen the whole thing without having to dig through that website. And when you say you're going to put it on the website, where? Where would you put it?
Typically, we have under planning board applications, I would put it under the zoning amendment section.
That's, okay. I won't tie up the meeting with that. I've been discussing that's an issue. But anyways, I prefer or suggest the 45 days, as Donna Jewell had said at the last meeting, and I agree. I don't want to see things dragged on necessarily, but I don't want to see things rushed through either. And my fear is, I know you can extend it, but I'd be afraid of things being rushed through. I have seen projects being rushed through that shouldn't have been rushed through. So I don't see what the harm is to say 45, and that gives you, some pressure off everybody, including yourselves. So I would still say the 45. And I couldn't quite hear you, Mr. Driscoll, at the very end. You said that when you mentioned the site plan reviews, is that going to go back to the planning board? I couldn't hear what you said at the end. Did you say that goes back to the planning board for review? Everything goes back to the planning board, right?
On section 10.6,
It was at the very end.
10.6 is site plan review. Right now, the CBDR is exempt from site plan review. So we're gonna remove that exemption.
Sorry, I still couldn't hear what you said.
So in 10.6,
Okay, which
the
I don't
the
have.
CBDR is exempt from site plan.
Okay.
If we cross that out, they now have to go to site plan through the planning board.
And it'll go to planning board. Okay. All right. So that was a good thing. I like the idea that things are coming back to the planning board for power, and that the heights have reduced. And I'm sorry, I just was writing everything down. I just want to make sure that like you said, the heights, this doesn't affect the look of the building. I mean, I know you had those nice photos, but not limited to, but this has nothing to do with the facade of the buildings of being matching. Is that part of this at all, the facade? Am I saying it right?
There's descriptions within the form-based code that gives kind of what we're looking at as far as the
Okay.
look. Bringing it down to 3.5 stories as opposed to 4 is going to create more of a roof line, not a flat roof. I think that the
Yeah,
4
I don't want a
stories is going to
box.
do.
We don't want a box.
Right. No, this is going to create more of your colonial look and things of
Okay,
that nature.
all right, so that would be in it.
But to answer the question, the planning board isn't considering any.
No, that's part of the checklist as far as what I think that's, in
Okay.
that form-based code, it gives the look
Okay,
as it
that's
was
in the
mentioned in
form-based
a
code.
certain section.
I haven't seen the form-based code in a while, and I can't really find it on the website. But that's my comments. What I like about it is that it goes back to the planning board. CED gets out of it. It's in it to a point, but it's not the final say. And I would prefer 45 days, or I think that's a better fit, 45 days, to give the pressure off for the planning board and whoever else is involved. I feel that we should make it easier for the town and not for the developers. The town comes first, the developers come second. And that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Anyone else in person or anyone online? Virtual hand raised in the chat. All right, I don't see anyone with their hands raised. Chairs. Yeah, I don't see anyone with their hands raised.
So
Mr. Driscoll, can I ask one more question before we move on? I know we didn't, this is not amended, but the density. Because there was switched from 6 different things that you could do down to 3, and the affordable housing was taken off of there. Have you ever considered putting the affordable housing trust back on there? I know no one's on the trust, but I spoke to the director of finance, and there is money in the trust.
I mean, that's,
Maybe something you guys can take up on another meeting.
yeah, I think
Okay.
we kind of stuck to Johnny's original recommendations. Things were missed, but we brought them back in, but it's, this might need another look again. But this is just, I mean, I think the main thing here was to clean it up, to address height, size,
Get it to the planning.
and get it to the planning board were really the main things. So,
All right.
But other aspects of it could be brought up.
I mean, if the council wants us to look, or the council wants us to look at design, more thorough design standards, or an affordable housing component, we can do that on another round. I mean, I think we should request a water impact study on every project. I mean,
That's what we plan on doing on our ordinance.
and if.
But we want to make sure that town councils and town managers receive it. So that way if residents ask, where is it? We will all have it. That's the baseline for it.
So what we talked about today, minus the formatting, there are some formatting issues that hopefully Mr. O'Brien can help me fix. We added the director in 2 spots.
Yep.
And those 2 pages that I submitted need to replace what we have in here. And they're just corrections. It's just crossing out the 4 stories going to 3.5, And again, there's that formatting issue. It's we want to close the public hearing on the planning board side or? you want-
So moved.
So, Mr. Geller made a motion to close the public hearing on the planning board side. Any second?
I'll second.
Mr. Greenberg, any discussion? I'll take the roll. Mr. Greenberg,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Geller,
Yes.
Mr. Fabrowski?
Yes.
Yeah. You're gonna vote?
Oh, did I vote? Did I not?
No.
I'm a yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, so on the council side,
Still would have
Well-
passed.
Motion to close
Okay.
public hearing.
thank
Second,
you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're closed.
Okay, so just for the planning board recommendation back, we put the corrections up there. Counselor McGrath added a few. Director, comments in section on
Page 12.
just, 9.8.4.2, the development process, section 2B. Are there any other changes we want to discuss on the planning board side? So the referral before us is a summary. It's the white page summary that people have been referring to. And what happened was it said section 1, section 2, section 3, and then it referred. So that is very confusing. And it addresses some areas that were already corrected and misses some sections, as the public's pointed out. So I think if we want to amend things, other than what we talked about, we could talk about that. The other thing is, I think if we want to adopt this language, we'd have to vote no, because that's what we're supposed to do. We have an ordinance in front of us to consider. We would vote no what's before us, but say, well, Shane, this is what we've been told.
Well,
Because we have something before us, we should vote no, but say we would vote this way if these changes are made.
I don't know who said that. Just from my perspective too, what the ultimate goal of what the original ordinance, though it's messy and unorganized, the intent that you guys are looking at is similar to what you guys are recommending. I just my fear is if you guys are going to do a favorable recommendation or a non-favorable recommendation, but you recommend it this way, then it gets kind of confusing that it coming out of CD and planning board, something's going to council where you're saying no to it, and then you're going to have to like.
So how, if we wanted to support what we talked about tonight,
Mhm.
should we vote yes on the ordinance with edits?
Well, you want to. I think you want to support the amendment with corrections because it's going to have to be re-advertised anyways for final reading for council. So I think you at least want to support the ordinance because the ordinance number didn't change.
So on the council side, though, who will take the red line version and make it into a clean ordinance?
What I would hope is that the council would just take your recommendations or our red line version and be like, take this and kind of run with it. Just kind of treat it as a procedural action or something.
So just next steps, we have the whole document in red line version.
Mm-hmm.
What we should do then is, where it was broken out into sections,
Sure.
break this out into the sections that we changed now, summarize those pages only,
Yep.
send that back as the referral,
Sure.
as a recommendation.
I think that's the easiest way of.
Vote the recommendation for the red line version that we have in front of us, based on what we reviewed on the old one, but this is what is being recommended to the council.
And then,
These edits.
and then what council already did originally was he summarized that, so we're gonna re-summarize it.
Right, in
Send it back
these
to-
edits, and
with these edits.
you're agreeing to these edits, we're gonna agree to these edits, so this is the recommended, the edits to this document sending to council.
And then,
But we used, Mr. Loretti's as the basis of the changes that we've made.
but there's no sense in And
voting on his
there's
directly, no.
There's no sense in you guys doing it and us doing it. If
Right.
Mr.
No.
O'Brien's gonna do it, he can share that work with you guys, then you can refer the same thing back.
Right, because we're looking at the same edits right now.
Yes.
So if you vote to approve the edits as written and we'll do the same, then he can take the ball from there, create the version. It's gonna come up to the.
Yeah, and that's going to be provided as part of your packet and part of the hearing.
We have to clean these edits up a little bit.
Well, again, based on what was discussed, and I don't think any of us have any problems on the numbers that we're talking about.
So,
The core of what we've worked on here as a group, I don't see being a problem on voting on as a whole to recommend to the council.
all right, so is there any planning board discussion on this?
Anything further?
Right direction. I think that's the right direction.
Anybody online for the planning board?
None here.
So Shane, you'd be looking for a motion to.
Oh, this would be your
to
motion.
it's a-
I'm just advising you. Probably wouldn't be advisable to not recommend it after we're all kind of talking about how
all right, so
we like it.
It's a motion to recommend with
The ordinance number, yeah,
the edits discussed here, and we'll send a summary of those edits back.
absolutely. It'd be no different than like with street acceptances, because this is essentially a non-binding recommendation of these boards and committees. But if council looks at it and says they approved the recommendations based on these changes, then I think
So what we'll do is if we decide to go that way, you'll write the standard letter that we write saying, hey, we held a hearing on these dates.
Yeah.
We voted X to X. And these are the changes, and you would summarize the red line version just like he did,
mhm.
right? And then we'll send that back. But-
Yeah, I would go to,
Get put in our package.
And we can share that with,
and that's when council has their hearing for it. Yeah.
but this is still kind of messy, so we gotta just pull it together.
Yeah. Before we send something to council, we want to clean it up and
But the crux of what we've discussed, I think, is what we're voting on to. See,
And then we
the
can,
recommendation.
we can all look at the recommendation that Shane puts together and look at what we have before us and make sure it lines up.
I don't see that being a problem without seeing that final edit that he's going to create.
So, Mr. O'Brien, we should take a motion on,
it's ordinance D FY 2614-014.
To recommend to the council with the following edit.
all right, on the planning board side, does somebody want to make a motion? All right, so we're gonna, so we're gonna motion to recommend ordinance DY FY 26-014 with edits,
With the following edits that we've discussed.
with the red line version edits that we've discussed here. And we'll re-summarize those edits and send that back in a summary form as opposed to the full red line form with a letter from the planning board recommending it with edits.
Yes. Well, I think that council would probably want to see the red line version of it too.
All
I
right,
know we can summarize it for what's going to be
what we should do is clean up the red line version,
correct.
just a format.
Yep.
Give that whole thing
Mhm.
along with a summary.
Correct.
Perfectly fine.
The more the better.
That's the motion.
Well, we have a motion.
Is that your motion, Mr. Fabrowski?
Yes. Yes, it is.
So motion D FY 26-014. We're gonna you made a motion to recommend with edits and a summary. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Geller. Any discussion? Mr. Geller?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrowski?
Yes.
Mr. Greenberg?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Secondarily.
Do we have to do anything except
Yeah.
just accept it when you send it to us?
So
You
as
guys get a vote.
Subcommittee, we're taking the same vote to recommend to
vote.
Okay,
council.
all right, so we're gonna do the same thing for
So I'll
them.
make the motion that we recommend the red line edits of this version back to the council.
I'll second it.
Right, and
All those in favor?
which way will you vote? Yes,
Aye.
Aye.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then can we before the council will have a hearing, correct, on this?
Well, it comes back, I don't know if we have enough to.
And that has to be, it has to be re-advertised.
Correct, re-advertised and discussed amongst the council.
So when we send our recommendation back
Mhm.
to council, which I can work on it with you tomorrow or Friday, whatever, just to get it done.
Mhm.
Can we, as soon as we get that back, we'll share it with them, get it online?
Yeah, that's fine.
Our first meeting's not until July
Yeah.
14th.
That version will get printed along with our agenda in that particular pack.
Right.
So that'll be included. in
But
that.
July 14th, all you're gonna do July 14th is send it to advertising anyway.
Yeah.
Right. we'll
So
make
we
it-
just need a nice, clean version to go to
Right,
advertising.
send out.
Sounds good.
Are we still discussing open space?
Oh, I
Is
didn't,
that
I
on the
didn't,
agenda still?
I didn't put on the agenda. I just wanted to.
Oh, because we talked about that, didn't we?
We did, that's.
Yeah, well,
Don't think it's on our agenda.
I guess to be fair, I think Deb sent me some referrals that would probably require a future CED and planning board committee meeting anyways, whether it be in July or August. So I would say if you guys want to put that on an agenda, have a healthy discussion.
No, I didn't get the agenda. I was busy today.
Oh, no, I think this was the only item that we really kind of discussed continuing to the special meeting, so I didn't want to throw people off.
All righty.
Here he is waiting. Start the meeting.
All right, any other public comment? Do we have a motion to adjourn on the planning board side
So move.
by Mr. Geller? Have a second?
Second.
Mr. Greenberg, any discussion? Mr. Geller?
Yes.
Brodsky? Yes. Greenberg?
Yes.
Donald?
Yes.
Yes, we're adjourned.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.
Thanks, y'all.
I'll,